So today I'm going to show you step by step how to make a cover for KDP in Open Canvas. So KDP is Amazon's self-publishing company, Kindle Direct Publishing. And the first thing you need to do is you need to get your template. So you type in KDP cover calculator on your search engine, and you are going to find this, the KDP cover calculator. And you click on this. And here you have to already know what kind of book you want, because the number of pages and the trim size, that is the size of the book, the height and the width, will decide how big the cover will be. So if you don't have that data prepared, you can't make the cover yet. So get that ready. Most people make paperbacks because they're more profitable. Most people do black and white because if you write a story, that's going to be it. But there are two color versions also to choose from. Then paper type inside, cream paper. If it's only text, cream paper is better. And then reading direction, you have to select left to right. And measurement units, so inches is also good because it correlates with the dots per inch. And interior trim size, you pick something, well, a popular size is 6 × 9 inches. That's what's called, I think, US Royal. And so I'm picking that. And then page count, let's say 150, but your book might be twice that. So you click enter, and here you're going to have the possibility to calculate dimensions. And when you do that, you're going to have all these dimensions written here. So you can just write them down also if you want to, but what you should do is you should download the template. So down here on the bottom side, you click download template, and then this thing is going to download. Now, on certain computers, this will zip. This is a zip file. I don't know why it does that. On my other computer, it just gives me the file directly and I don't have to unzip it. So here I have to extract it. So I extract it and now it's extracted. Glory, glory. And now what you do is you take you get the file in two formats. So you get it as a PDF and you get it as a PNG file. So if you want to work with Open Canvas, you can only use the PNG file because Open Canvas does not work with PDF. If you're working in Photoshop, you can use the PDF file equally. Or if you're working in Word, the PDF file is usable and so on. So we're gonna do this in Open Canvas. So we open the paperback, so we right click on this, and then we say we want to open it with Open Canvas, right? And what you get is this. Immediately a file that has the right size, the correct size for your cover. So you don't have to set it, you don't have to do anything. And this is the overall dimension. So this is really, I'm just drawing on this, but you don't need to do that. And these are the dimensions that show the file size, so the document size. And you can check those because you have those in inches. And what you need to have good quality print is 300 dots per inch. But these templates always open in 600 dots per inch. That's to like give you extra space. So if you calculate this amount of inches times 600, you're going to find that if you want to check this, if you look at canvas size, then you're going, well, current size. Up here you have the current size. So if you do this, so this number of inches times 600, you should have this number, and if you do this number of inches, the smaller the height, you should get this number. And I've checked it, it's correct. So Open Canvas works this way. So you have a 600 dpi document in this correct size. Now, there is an asterisk to this, and there is a link to a video on the top right corner right now where you can see what to do when your book is too big, because Open Canvas has a limit of 10,000 dots in any direction. So if any of these dimensions is bigger than 16.6, I think, inches, then it's not going to open correctly and you need to correct it manually and lower the DPI to 300. So it's going to be a separate video up here about that. Now, what you want to do now is create your cover. So this is your creative process. I'm going to just show how to put in the text and everything because I'm not going to show you how to draw the cover. The first thing is that you make more layers. And this layer, that is the template, normally what I would do is I would put it on top and then I would lower the opacity. So basically I can see all my lines here, and everything I put underneath, I'm going to see where it goes. And then when I don't want to look at it, I just make it disappear so I can see what I'm doing and everything. And now we're going to import some images. Okay, so now we have our images inserted into our document, and now you can just start with the move tool. You can move them around. So like this, you can switch the document, move the other one around, put this one behind this one. Make sure the cover template is on top so you can see where you're going with them, and you can move these around as you wish. Now, if you want to resize them, you do Control T, and then you can apply that. So you could remember to make constrained proportions if you don't want it to get weird. And then you can make it bigger or smaller and everything. We don't really want to do that, so we're going to cancel that. And let's get rid of the template for a minute. So we're just going to move this stuff around. And as you can see, I'm very sneaky. The text is already in there because this is a cover I actually used for my book. So I don't have to make it really. Let's hold on. Let's see what this is going to be like. Let's see this, and we're going to just go to the edge of the cover like this. Now, if we zoom in, you can see that we're correctly, because I'm letting the front be the spine also. Normally, the best thing if you can do it is just to have both the sides, so that is the front, the back, and the spine be the same color, because KDP does have a 3.2 millimeter fault as a margin of error. And sometimes it'll just jump out, the spine side will jump out onto the back or onto the front. And if the colors are radically different, that does not look good. So what you can do, if you have something like this, for example, instead of having the hard edge, you can just take the eraser and erase one of them just like slightly, the soft eraser, and you lower the opacity, and then you can achieve a soft edge. That's what I did with my book. So basically, it'll soften the dramatic difference. And of course, if you have two different images like this for the front and the back, and it's good to just wrap the spine together with one of the images or one of the colors that you're using. And if you can, make the color go across the spine totally. I'm gonna just show really quickly how those can be done. So we're gonna get an image, copy it, okay, close that, Control V. Now we have it here. Now we press Control T, and the same way as before, we're going to be able to move it to adjust the size. We have the constraint proportions on, so we're not going to mess it up. So now if we put on the template, we can see that this image goes across. Now that is one possibility. So you can just get another layer here, put the layer underneath, and let's say we want to dunk that. Let's say we're going to dunk it and not put in another image, because when you have an image that goes right next to it, we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to just taste this color, and then we're going to get the dunker, and we're going to dunk this, right? Okay, so you can either do it this way and have one side like this, and then you can put your text and your additional images or whatever you want here. We're going to change the color of the back first. Okay, so now we have a back color that's sort of going to blend. We want to see the edges. And now you can take your select tool, which is this dotted square here. Select a square mode of selection, but you can make circles or freeform selections, whatever you want. But let's say for a book, it's usually going to be square. And you can select so it's well within the red edges, and that way it'll also keep safe from any movements. And you take this, then you make a folder, and on this folder you click this here down here. That means mask. Then you move your image into the mask layer, and then let's get rid of the template for a minute. Then the image will only be visible in the part that you selected. And you can do this for multiple different images. So every time you want you want a circular image, something in here, so you just make a circle like this, right? And then you can move the circle around, and then you can say another file. You do the same thing, you do mask on that layer, and then you can move something in to that layer, some other image. And then you can select this image and move that image around, so you can have it like this. And of course, images can all be turned around. So for example, this image, if you would like to, you can just select the image, you Control T, and here you can flip the image. So it's a big image, so Let's get something here like that. Here you can turn it in any way you want. Obviously you can flip it vertical, flip it horizontal, flip it vertical back. So you can do everything to your images and resize and everything. And if you press Control, then you can even warp the image, right? So make it, if you hold Control and you do this, then you can warp the image in different ways. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some text. So you get your text tool up here, the big T. You just click approximately where you want to write. You get the cursor, and here you're gonna, well, you can just start by writing. So you just put in your text. And this text is not going to give you a preview. So if you're going down with the different fonts, it's not like Photoshop that you're going to see what they are. So basically what I did, because there are a lot of fonts, if you look at this, let's go down the fonts here. There are so many fonts, and there's really a lot to choose from. The best thing to do is to put them out on paper. So write a little bit, make documents where you write a little bit with each font. The font name is what I did, and that way I even did them with so bold font, italic font, because the thing about Open Canvas is you can make anything italic. So because even if I take a font that doesn't normally exist in italic, this for example is the kind of font that wouldn't exist in Open Canvas, it will make everything italic. It'll just flip it on the side. So that is something you can do with every font. So that is why in my list I made every font like this with the bold and the italic, most of them at least, so I can see the difference. And it's good to have a list like that, because here without the preview it's very difficult. You'd have to click every single one in order to see what you're working with, right? So you're going down, maybe this name looks good, and again this, and then it gives you the preview. That is very tedious, so it's good to have the list to be able to just look at it. Now I happen to know what I want. I can just write the first letter when I'm on this, so V, and then you can scroll down to the one you want. So I want Vivaldi, I know I want that, so I'm going to say okay. And now here you can change the size of the text and everything, but I think it's pretty good. And then leading is the what space between the lines, and kerning is what space between the letters. So you can see how it spaces out and everything. I don't want that, I just want it to be regular. And of course the color, so I want to change the color. I want it to be a warm black. Okay, and here, and then we say okay, and then we have this text. And then I'm going to just move this around so I get it about where I want it. So here, is this bold? Why is it so freaking thick? Yeah, it's bold. Okay, so I don't want it to be bold. I was bold by accident, so we're going to deboldify it. We're not going to make it forced italic because it already is. And then we're going to say okay. So this is the title. Now I'm going to add the subtitle in the same way. So I haven't put the author's name or anything because I just don't want to make all the details here, but you would do it the same way. But now you need the spine text, and that is text on a different angle. So what you do here is you click the text tool, as usual, you click where you want to write, and then here you choose this T with a down going arrow, and that immediately changes the text direction to downwards, but it's only in one direction. So let's say, let's change this to like, well, 19, maybe it'll be good because this text really has to be very small, and we're already going to change the color to black. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. But that's a little bit too small, I would say. So we're going to say Control A, so it's all done. And here we're going to change this to like 40. How about 40? 40 looks pretty good. And of course, if you have this kind of text that's very, well, you're going to see the problem if I put on this. Now we need to look at the template and we need to zoom in. And this kind of text is, this kind of font is not the perfect kind of font. Let's just move it around so we can see. Because it can't go outside with any part of it outside of the red edges. If it does, then it'll be rejected by KDP. So immediately you can see this is perfect, maybe not the best font because it's very tiny, it's not very visible. So here you might want to change the font to something else. Let's try that. So we're going to do this and we're going to say we click on text tool, you click on the text, Control A to select everything, and now we're looking for some other font. So now we have chosen a font, Copperplate Gothic Bold, which is a little bit more condensed, so we're gonna just say okay on that. And this one is good because it's in all caps, but it has these bigger letters, and so you can actually make this bigger. So if I wanted to, okay, so we're gonna make this just a little bit bigger. After the Control A, we're gonna do 50, right? 50 is okay. 50 is still within the red lines, so it's good. I'm gonna just take the move tool, I'm gonna move it around. Okay, so if you want this text the way Open Canvas does it automatically, that is, the top is to the right, the bottom is to the left, now you're set. If you would like it the other way around, you can't do that automatically with the text tool. And what you will find that if you want to twist it around, you do Control T, right? And it says text layers can't be transformed. So now you're really mad. So a quick fix for this problem is to rasterize the layer. So you have the layer selected, which you can check by putting it off and on. And then you go to the hamburger bar on the layers panel and you say rasterize layer, right? And this will transform it so it no longer has the big T in front of it. It's now a regular raster layer. And now you can do Control T, and now you can do everything that Control T allows you to do. So you can switch it around. If you don't get it perfectly straight, you can go here and you can just click this, remove that and say 180 degrees, and it'll be perfectly straight. So if you don't manage to do it by hand, and then if you want to, you can make it a little bit longer to stretch it out. You can warp it, you can do everything. So in order to show just other effects you can have with text, I've gone back to the alternative cover. But first I want to just very quickly point out that when you are pasting in text that is supposed to be a lot of text, I mean not like a title, then make sure it's formatted before you copy it. So you paste it in already formatted. So take it from Word or some program that will format it for you, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get this giant long line, never-ending line, and you're going to have to go and chop it every time the line has to change. You have to chop it, and that's very tedious. So what's much better is just to create a new thing like this, and then use Control V, and your text that is formatted comes in with the right endings. Another important thing to remember is that when you're putting in text on the back of the cover, this location for the barcode has to be steered clear from, because that's where KDP is going to just pop the barcode on top, and if there's text here, that's going to be a fault. There can be things behind it, like images or photos, like it is here, because that's part of the design of the cover, but no text. Okay, so now we have the placeholder text placed. The background is done with a gradient. I'm not going to show how you do a gradient. There's a video I made before that's linked in the top right corner about how to use gradient in Open Canvas. And now I've put in another title, and I did a fat one just to show these effects, and always check whether it's well centered within the template. And now what you can do, the first thing is that even before you've rasterized the title to mess around with it, you can see the blending modes. So here I've zoomed in a little bit so we can see it better. And if you go in on your blending modes, which is on the top of the layers panel, you can go through the blending modes and see what this does to this color. Every color will react differently because the mode blends the color with the colors of the background. So depending on what color you are using in the foreground, it's going to make a different effect. So if this, let's say I change the color of the text completely, the effect changes drastically. So you can play around with this and look for a way to find something that's interesting. Another thing that is really great to do is you can hold Control, click your text layer, and that'll select it. And now you can make another layer above it so you can see what you're doing. And here, for example, you can take a brush that you like, and here you can just add color to your text at will. So just paint in the text. If you want something to be like a wave or something, you want some gold in the middle, right? Or something yellow, then you can do that by yourself. Just paint within the text. And this is of course happening on a different layer. So if you remove the bottom layer of the text, then all it's going to be left is what you painted, and you can play around with this in 1,000 ways. You can make it less or more opaque, what you drew and everything. So this is very good for really artistic titles. Now I'm just going to show you one last trick. Let's duplicate this layer, right? The Mishka duplicate layer. And we're going to grab it and pull it away. Just so one possible thing. So another thing you can do is just you do the same hack. So you do Control this, then you fill it in with like another layer, and we're going to just fill that in. Bigger brush, thank you. Like this, then Control D. And then what we're going to do is we are going to free transform. So we say Control T, we take this layer and we say flip it horizontally, right? So no, that's not what we want. Flip vertically, this is what we want. And then we're gonna move it down. And then you have like a mirror image of your text, which is really nice. You can lower the opacity of this layer. Let's say apply. You can lower the opacity of this layer so it's going to be a little bit transparent. Press the free transform, so Control T. You can now, if you hold the Control button, you can pull this in different directions like that. So you can make this, for example, you can do like this, and you can do like that. So you can make this text go, well, this is just bothering us now. You can make this text go in any kind of way, and we can of course move it around and everything. You can flip it horizontally, vertically, whatever you want to do. So this gives you some more options with what you want to do. Now let's move on to exporting this. So in order to export it, you say File, you say Save As. And now the options you are going to get here is Open Canvas document. None of these are going to work directly in KDP. You can make it a JPEG and then transform it in the cover creator. So when you're doing the book on KDP, you can use the JPEG as an image that goes into the cover creator. For this version that we're doing here, we're going to do PNG, right? So we're going to do PNG, and then we're going to change the file name, and we're going to say cover test, right? Cover test, that's not it. Okay, cover test, and we're going to say save, right? And not transparent, we want 24-bit PNG, so it's no transparency, there is nothing here. Okay, and make sure you remember that before you save that you don't have the template on. And also for the template, you should know that these edges, this dark line here, is where it's actually going to get cut, when the book will be cut. The red one is where you're not allowed to put any text, and the outside red space is what is going to be like the security area that is called the bleed. So the security area for all sides. And so what is on the bleed will normally not be visible, but if they get a little wonky and they move the printing to the left or to the right, it might become visible. So that is why it has to be filled out. We have exported our PNG, and what we have now is a PNG of the entire cover. Now this we can't use in KDP directly, so what you do is you take your you go to your, you make a search in your search engine and you write Adobe Acrobat JPEG to PDF converter, and you're going to get this page. It's at adobe.com. This is free. You don't have to subscribe or anything. And you just select a file and we select our file, we say open, right? And it's gonna convert it. So now what you've got is an RGB document. It is not CMYK because you can't get from Open Canvas into CMYK, but for KDP actually an RGB document is just fine because they are going to convert the colors, and it's actually a better conversion than if you do it yourself even on Photoshop, at least in my experience. I have another video all about how the colors come out when you do it in CMYK or you do it in RGB, so there's a link to that video on the top right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put this into KDP. So as you can see here, there already is a book that looks like that because I just repeated the book that I did already. And so I'm just going to do create new title or series. This is when you already have a book. If you don't have any, then you don't have this situation, but the rest is the same. So I've created a paperback, the language, the book title. You have to put everything in, so I'm just going to leave you for a moment while I'm putting it in. So it's going to be whatever, and this is going to be whatever, no series, description, okay. I own the copyrights, is not sexually explicit, I don't care about the reading age, Amazon.com. The categories are going to be well, whatever, business, and then we have all of this, and now we say save. Okay, so we have this part done, and now we have the content, and this is what matters. So it's gonna say assign a, well, we're not even gonna do this now, but I hope I don't need to. And here we have 6x9, so you can choose whatever trim size here, whatever size you want. This is 6x9, that's the one we use, so that's where we're going to keep it. Bleed, we have bleed because we have oh no, that's for the inside, so it doesn't matter. And now we're not gonna upload the manuscript, we're gonna upload the book cover. Okay, upload a cover you already have, upload your cover file, and here we're gonna upload this cover. Open. I can't launch the previewer because I have to upload a manuscript. Okay, fucking shit. So now I've even had to upload an interior file. It's empty, but I had to do it because otherwise it wouldn't work. I hope it's gonna visualize more quickly. AI generated content, no, I just nothing in the book, and then launch the previewer. And now we're gonna see if our cover is good. So here we can see how the cover looks. So we can see it fits perfectly. Every line is good. Everything is inside. And the only error we have is that they're telling us about errors. Your book has errors because it doesn't have anything inside it. It's empty. I just put in 150 pages of nothing. So this will not work. But if there are any errors with the cover, you would see them here. So as you can see, the cover is perfect. So this is how you get your Open Canvas document drawing thing as a cover into KDP.